Welcome back to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. I am your host, Brent Daniels, and I am absolutely thrilled that you are listening to this podcast. If it's your first time, welcome. If you're one of our loyal Rhino Tribe, Rhino Nation listeners, thank you for making this podcast so incredibly special. Cody Hoffine, Tom Kroll, and myself, every single episode, try to bring you the absolute best instruction, the best ideas, the best psychology, and the best interviews from amazing people around the country. And it is our absolute pleasure. It's our absolute pleasure to do this time and time again, and keep this podcast going and keep it being full of energy and enthusiasm and passion for this wholesaling business, because this wholesaling business is a cash machine. It is the answer you've been looking for. It is absolutely hitting the lottery. It is so much fun, and you provide so much value to the community, and that's why you can make so much income, so much money in this business. It's absolutely phenomenal. And to bring that energy, to bring that passion, to bring that enthusiasm, I have an incredible man from an incredible wholesaler from Louisville, Kentucky with me. So everybody, Pete, say hello to everybody. Pete Christensen, say hello.
Hey, what's up, Brent? It's an absolute honor to be on the podcast with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Let's bring some energy. Let's bring some enthusiasm. Let's get everybody that's driving in their car or maybe watching this on the YouTube channel. Let's provide a ton of value, which I know we will. So let's set the foundation and see and learn and hear about you. Give me your background. Who are you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a background in sales and really just kind of general failed entrepreneurships. I've been in corporate America for the last 10 years or so, maybe longer. And essentially, I'm looking to kind of make a transition into something I have real passion about. And for the first time in my working career, I found myself in between work. And so I'm married with 2 kids. I have an amazing wife, Bethany. We've been married for over 8 years, and 2 little girls at home. And for the first time in April of 2019, I feel myself at a loss. I'm like, what is going on here? I need to find a job. And so I'm searching for a new opportunity. And I was meeting with my friend, who also happened to be my pastor. And he told me about this idea, this concept of wholesaling. And I said, wholesaling? That's legal? That's what I want to do. And so that was April 23rd of this year, and I haven't looked back since.
Awesome. So, your pastor is the one out there. Is he actively wholesaling as well?
He's not. No, he actually was a tribe member. He did it for a little while, but I think just kind of with the combination of a busy job and a family, growing family, I think it was just a lot on his plate. So, but he's been an amazing resource and sense of encouragement. It's been awesome to have him in my corner.
Okay, so that beautiful wholesaling seed is planted in your brain. What do you do next?
Okay, so I'm old enough to know that if I have somebody around me that's been where I want to go, I'm going to get there a lot faster. And so I started going on the internet looking for you. I went on YouTube University and I started looking for as much information as I could find. And I came across this crazy video of actually you, Brent, driving around Phoenix, Arizona, driving for dollars, writing things down on a legal pad. And I thought, I could do that. And I kind of like this guy. And I had remembered Andy, who I'd met with earlier. He told me your name had stuck out in my mind. And so I'm like, oh, this is the guy Andy had mentioned to me. And so I just looked into doing the TTT program, and really, I knew that it was going to help me go a lot faster and farther than if I tried to figure all this out on my own.
So you went just green right at it into the TTP program.
Yeah, I mean, I waited a week to join, but
yeah,
I think I joined May 1st or something like that.
Yeah.
I had a call with Bart, who was really awesome and very kind. And he helped me kind of get things going, and then we talked later that day.
Awesome. And you got in, and the incredible thing is you got in, and I think it's a part a percentage of it is you have a sales background, which I think is a huge, huge, huge benefit when you get going in this business, especially when you get going and you want to go in a proactive direction. When you don't want to do marketing, you want to do prospecting. And there is two different sides to the business, or two different sides to sourcing opportunities, which that's all it comes down to, is sourcing opportunities. It's either you market, or really there's three ways. You market, you prospect, or you wait for referrals. But what you decided to do is you're like, hey, listen, I already know how to talk to people, right? You've been talking to people
Yeah.
in your life, in your professional life for years, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had actually the last 5 years been in a inside sales role. So I was managing sales reps. I was one myself, and had found success there. And honestly, I thought, man, this TTT program it's for me. I already have a skill set there. I just need to know the mechanics. I need to be encouraged. And obviously, I learned a ton from going through your program. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, anybody that's wondering what Pete's talking about, or what I'm talking about with TTP, it just basically stands for talk to people. It's just the basic philosophy of the more quality conversations that you can have with distressed property owners, the more deals you're going to do, the more money you're going to make, the more success you're going to have. It all comes down to, it doesn't matter if you're doing marketing, referrals, or prospecting, it's going to come down to talking to people. So we just choose, us crazy people, choose to be proactive about it, not wait around for the conversations to come to us, but to go out and attack those conversations in a respectful and meaningful way, and be able to have impact on truly distressed property owners. Here's the thing about wholesaling. Wholesaling is all about finding a problem that you can solve, which means that the sellers have to have some sort of distress. Now, there's a million different reasons for it. There's a million different motivations for it. You're not looking for the person that wants to sell their house retail. You're not looking for the person that just upgraded it and put a ton of money into it. You're looking for properties that are typically run down. Typically, they have some sort of issue, some sort of distress there, whether they just inherited the property, whether they owe taxes on it, whether they're foreclosing on it, whether it's been a rental for a long time and they're just tired of the upkeep, whether they just can't keep up the property just physically or financially. And so with those people, they need somewhere to turn, and they want to turn to somebody that has that's going to give them a cash offer and an opportunity to sell their property without having to pay real estate commissions, without having to pay title and escrow fees, without having to go through inspections and all the other things that go through with traditional real estate. So that's where we come along, right? That's where we're introduced into their life, because Tom Kroll says it best when he says, people will trade equity for speed and convenience. Right?
Yep.
So,
absolutely.
Done with my little soapbox there. Honestly, Pete, so you go out there and you start taking action like right away. You start following the instructions in the program, you get in there, and then how do you, let me just, this is something interesting, and I'm going to take a little side path here, because I think it's really important. Because I think that you can have all the tools, right? You can have everything set up for you. You can have the step by step by step. But if you don't have the right psychology, the right mindset to actually take action, then you're always going to be stuck saying, well, I should do it, but I didn't. What do you do? Like, what is your psychology when you're getting ready to pick up the phone and actually press go? What are you thinking about? What's going through your head? Maybe you've already been trained because you've done so much inside sales, but like, go back to young Peter when you first started getting on the phone. Like, how did you build up your psychology, the mindset, to be able to talk to people all day, every day?
Well, I'll tell you a secret, Brent. It's not really a secret for those who are successful in wholesaling. This business is all about serving other people. It's all about helping them. And when I go to pick up the phone, I actually heard this from you one time on a previous podcast. I need to think, I am calling this person to serve them. It's not that I'm calling to sell them something or to buy something from them. I'm calling to connect with this person, to build a relationship, and to sell, to help them out of a burden. Because these distressed property owners, they need help. They're stuck in a place, and they don't realize that they can sell their house because it's usually in a pretty poor condition. And so my mindset when I go to pick up the phone and I press go, I'm thinking, I'm going to connect with this person and provide them a ton of value. I'm going to build trust with them, and I'm going to solve their problem. And that's essentially it, you know. And of course, the negotiation piece comes in, but really, I think negotiation is trying to solve other people's problems in real estate. Because once they trust you and they have some, once there's some relationship there, then they're going to go a lot further. They're going to open up to you and share really the motivation behind why they want to sell. So my goal is to help serve them and understand why they want to sell, and then help see if I can solve that problem.
And that's huge. And that's part of pre-qualifying those sellers. You know, we talk about the 4 pillars of pre-qualifying based on the condition of their property. Listen, anybody that's just listening to this, if you haven't heard this, there's 4 things that you need to pre-qualify every seller to see if they actually have a problem that you can solve. These are the 4 things: the condition of the property, their timeline to sell it, their motivation to sell it, and the price. If you know those 4 things, or if you ask those 4 things, then you can truly, truly, truly understand if you can solve a person's problem, or if you're just wasting their time, or if they're just looking to get an offer out of you, but they really don't have a problem that you can solve right now. It's absolutely critical, especially when you're starting out. If you're just starting out on this, you get so excited. You get so excited for anybody that's talking to you that's so nice, and they're being gentle with you, and they're not angry. And they're being really they're having a good conversation with you, right? And you feel so excited that you rush out to their house and you go to their appointment, and you find out that they don't want to sell. So it is important to pre-qualify every single seller every single time, so that you can understand if truly, like Pete was saying, you can serve them. So it's absolutely phenomenal. So let's get in the nitty gritty, because this man right here, listen, I'm gonna gloat for you for a little bit here. He got his first deal in 31 days. Okay, literally 31 days from starting, he got his first deal. And that is just an incredible achievement. Typically, I would say, if you're getting into this and you're wondering what the timeline is, typically if you're working at this hard, 20 hours a week, it's within 90 days that you get your first deal. He did it in a third of the time. So how did you do it?
Honestly, Brent, I can only give the glory to God. Like, that is not me, but obviously I've heard a great saying, you get lucky when you work hard. Because honestly, I was working hard. I was following what you said to do. I was making calls. I was driving for dollars. And when I connected with this seller on the phone, he was a nice guy. And I pre-qualified him on the phone, and he was just a really great guy. He actually was experiencing some health challenges, which I didn't learn about until I actually met him on the property. But he was, yeah. So I don't know if you want me to get into it right now.
Sure. Yeah.
Break it down.
So break it down. Let's put this in exercise. The 4 pillars. So what was the condition of this property?
So this was a property that they built in 1979. It was 40 years old, and it was going through a full rehab. So he was in the middle of rehabbing it. So the subfloors were exposed. The bathrooms were demoed, and he had new stuff he was going to be putting in the bathrooms. It needed everything. It needed paint, flooring, the whole 9. So except for the roof. The roof is in great shape. But I came to the property. We talked on the phone initially, and he told me he threw out a price over the phone. He said, 175, and I was thinking, okay, well, that's in the ballpark, because this thing fixed up is going to be about 245, 250. And so I came out, and I also talked about the timeline to sell, and he was ready to sell. This is what he said, Brent. I said, would you ever consider an offer on your property? And he said, I hadn't thought about it. He thought he needed to fix it up to be, sparkling clean and perfect before somebody would buy the property.
Right.
And this is a man who is a very successful businessman, owned multiple homes in different states, and he had never thought about somebody just coming and buying his house not fixed up.
Yeah.
And so it was just a perfect timing. He was right in the middle of it, experiencing challenges, and didn't want to deal with it anymore.
Love it. And the property, how much in repairs do you think?
It depended on, who you are. If you're in construction, it's going to be cheaper, but I estimated around 30, 25 to 30. Other people estimated around 37,000. So it was a pretty big job, but it was very straightforward. Everything structurally was great. There was no issues there.
So the property was vacant?
It was vacant.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So it's vacant.
Yep.
He's getting some work done on it. What did you get it from a Driving for Dollars list? Did you get it from a different list?
I got it from an absentee owner high equity list.
Got it.
And here's
From
I forgot to on ListSource, yeah.
Yep.
ListSource.com. Here is one cool thing is when I called him about a different property, the one that pulled from ListSource.
There we go.
And he said, I have that fully renovated and I have a renter in it. I'm not really interested in selling it. And I said, Don, I completely understand. Do you have any other properties that you might consider selling? Maybe something that needs a little love? And he said, I got this other one, and that was the one.
That's the one.
That
That's
was the
turning
one.
a no into a yes. I mean, following up that, it's in our script, obviously the TTP script, that if they say no, that's the natural question asked. But I'm telling you, we get at least a dozen deals a year. At least once a month, we get a deal from that second question. We do. I mean, it's just, people sometimes when you're calling them, and the nice thing is, the specific thing that you said right there was amazing. Something that needs a little bit of love. Right? Do you have any other properties that maybe need a little bit of love? Because here's the thing. You don't want to cause friction in these conversations, right? You don't want to cause a lot of, you don't want to, words matter. You don't want to use a lot of verbiage that are going to be too aggressive. So when you go with something like the word love, it needs a little bit of love. All of a sudden they start thinking that if you were to say, do you have anything that's just trashed? Do you have anything that's just totally beat to hell? You know what I mean? It sounds a lot different than, hey, do you have anything that needs a little bit of love? So everybody listen out there, boom, there you go. There's something there for you. So incredible. So you get it from ListSource. You skip trace it, I assume. What do you use to skip trace?
I use batch skip tracing.
Yep.
And use the TTP code.
Yep.
Got the discount.
Yep.
And then just uploaded my list to Mojo Dialer and started calling people. And believe it or not, this was one of the first days I was calling. I ran into this guy on the phone, and it went from there. So
love it.
Yeah, it went
so
well.
he got the address from listsource.com. He went to batchskiptracing.com for the accurate phone numbers, which if you use the TTP code, you get it at 18 cents an address. 17 cents
that's
an
right.
address. One of those, yeah. 18 cents an address instead of 23 or 30 or whatever it is. You put it into your dialer and you press go.
That's right.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it. And then all of a sudden you're just using the script.
Yeah, I mean it's an amazing script. It's very straightforward, and the script is really just to get the conversation going.
That's it.
It's not. Once you're talking to them, you're connecting with them. You're trying to relate to them. You're building trust.
It's a skeleton.
Letting them know.
The script is just a skeleton. The script is just to keep you there. The first 4 seconds on a cold call determines the next 30 seconds, right? So you got to get the first four seconds, and then you get 30 seconds, and then you can ask the question, would you consider an offer on their property? Once that happens, you only get 6 responses. Am I wrong about that? You're only getting 6 responses, right?
You're absolutely right.
You get yes, no, maybe I'll sell in the future. How much will you give me? Who are you, and how'd you get my number? There's only 6 responses, guys. Learn how to respond to those responses, and you can keep the conversation going. It's amazing. So proof right there. Pete just confirmed it. You only get one of those responses. So you are rocking and rolling. You press go. You're starting to talk to people. How is it the first time you get on?
Honestly, it's weird. I felt nervous when I first started calling people on Mojo, and I have lots of experience. I have thousands of hours on the phone, and yet I'm still nervous.
Yep.
So don't worry about being nervous. You're just calling to serve people, and if they don't want to sell, put them on the no list and keep going, because there's somebody that wants to sell.
Yeah. So you get that property, you lock it up, you sell it, you get it out there and you sell it. How'd you do?
I did okay. I think for my first deal, I was happy with it. So I got it under contract for 165, and then turned around and sold it for 170. So made 5,000.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
first deal, 31 days. You get $5,000. You go from, I like saying, going from believing you could do it to a fact. You said from faith to fact before we got on this podcast, which I love. I love both versions of it, but it's absolutely true, guys. Here's the thing. When you're starting out and you're like, I think I can do this. I believe I can do this. I have faith I can do this. And then all of a sudden you were holding a check for services, for doing this, for going through the whole process, from going to start to finish, and you wholesaled your first deal. All of a sudden it opens up the floodgates. You can do this. You can do this. So hold on a second.
Yeah.
Everybody
All right. I've been waiting for that.
Everybody in this building loves when I do that. Trust me.
Yeah.
But absolutely. I mean, congratulations. I mean, it's just proof that, you don't overthink it. You take instructions. People listen to this podcast can take literally this podcast between you and I here and implement things right now. It's just getting into that psychology, that mental. You put it perfect. You were coming from a perspective of how do I serve the community, and that's absolutely what it's about. You know what I mean? That's what gets you up. That's what gets you enthusiastic. And I think something that really comes across, and I hope people watch this on the YouTube channel at Brent Daniels Real Estate, because they can see you, see your sincerity, put a face to the voice. But really, guys, he's coming from a place of he's not going to get into a rut, which I find happens all the time with people when they make dozens and hundreds and thousands of calls. He gets every conversation that Pete has, that person is the most important person, right? That person, he makes him feel like the most important person that he's talking to. His enthusiasm, the way that he talks, the way that he comes, the energy that he brings to his calls, the energy that he brings to this podcast, to this video on YouTube. I mean, it's just, that is the secret sauce. You got to make people feel like you are there. I mean, do you ever, sometimes I hear it because I listen to a lot of recordings, Pete. I listen to a lot of recordings from the students and from my own prospectors, and you hear this rut, like they're sitting down, there's no enthusiasm, they're not, it's almost like, have you ever been to like a party or a networking event and you're talking to somebody and then all of a sudden they're just kind of like, looking around, you feel like terrible, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you can focus in and use your listening skills and really focus in and listen and respond to what people are saying and confirm and approve what they're saying, they feel that trust, like somebody's standing there looking you in the eyes and really giving you the time and the respect that you deserve. And I think that's a huge thing.
They feel validated, because we all want to feel validated and important. And if you listen to somebody, it helps them feel important. You essentially you're giving value by listening.
Yep.
And that's the best way to negotiate, is to listen and gather as much information as possible so that you really understand the context and why this person even wants to sell, if you can solve their problem. Yeah,
that's it. So now you did your first deal, you're off and running. Are you being consistent? Are you staying up? You got leads in your pipeline? You're getting this thing going? You're getting this thing rolling? How does it feel?
It feels amazing. I mean, I'd like to have another deal, right away. I don't have another one locked up yet, but I think I got a lot of good leads and a lot of opportunities in the pipeline. I'm writing offers. Every time I go to a property, I'm writing an offer.
You're locking one up tomorrow, right? Or is that today?
I'm hopefully going to be walking through one tomorrow. We've already kind of agreed on the price over the phone, and I've seen the property a number of times, so I think it might be a real possibility tomorrow. Yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
And it's super important. I think the theme of this podcast is getting your first deal done, getting it done as soon as possible, getting into it that this is a fact that you can do this business. I don't care if you make $100 or if you make $100,000 on your first deal. Obviously, one impacts you, but sometimes I've seen, honestly, Pete, I've seen people make $100,000 on their first deal, or $50,000 or 30,
Wow.
and never do a deal again. They never do
What?
a deal again because it was just so big. And so then all of a sudden they have this big check in their account, and then all of a sudden they start overthinking. They start saying, oh, I need to hire all these people. I need to go and do all this other kind of marketing. I got to go and build this, and I got to do a CRM and a website and all this other things. And they get distracted from the fundamental principle that is quality conversations with distressed property owners. You know what I mean? So I have seen a ramp up long term. If you look at the long term trajectory of people that have really done amazing things, they all like almost exclusively start out doing a deal that's $2,000, $3,000, $5,000. The first deal that I did, I got paid like $2,500 as a commission. I didn't even get the assignment fee. You know what I mean? But I built it up and built it up and built it up, and it was enough to keep me motivated. It was enough to keep me. I imagine if I would have gotten like a huge deal off the bat, I don't know. I don't know where I'd be. I honestly don't. I think I would let it go to my head. I think that I could do that every single day, and I think that it would kind of dilute my efforts a little bit. So I love that you got a $5,000 deal 31 days into it. No, it's not this life-changing massive deal that we talk about, but you're taking the steps to get there, and I absolutely support and love that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super grateful. It happened. It worked. Wholesaling is a legitimate form of business to provide tons of value to the community. This house is going to get fixed up and improve property values in the neighborhood. I helped a homeowner get out from under something he can't handle anymore due to his health. So it's a win. It's a win for everyone.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and wrapping up this podcast, let people know how to get in touch with you, and also, well, let's do this. Before you do that, skipping ahead a little bit, do me a favor. Give some advice for people just starting out, because this was you 90 days ago. Right? So give some advice for people just starting out.
Okay, Brent, if I could give some advice, whether you want to be great at basketball or wholesaling or anything, you got to get around people that are doing it and doing it well. And so I'm a firm believer of learning from others that have gone before you. And so I'd get on a strategy call with you. You didn't tell me to say that. Nobody. I just believe in the program. If it's not with TTP or Wholesaling, go with somebody else. But you got to get a mentor to help you, because you're going to waste your time trying to figure this out on your own. It's just, you can learn so much more from other people that have already done it. So I'd say, get connected with somebody that can help you and walk with you, and just start taking action. Quit thinking about it. You know what to do. Brent just laid it out in the podcast, what to do. Find a property that looks distressed, get in touch with the owner, look them up on the PVA, skip trace their number, and then call them and say, hey, would you ever consider an offer on your property? Mm-hmm. And they'll say yes, no, maybe. Who are you?
How much, and how'd you get my number? That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I would just say, do that. Start taking action. If this is something you want to do and serve others, you're going to succeed at it. If you're trying to swindle people, they're going to smell it a mile away, and they won't want to talk to you or do business with you. So you just really got to have that posture when you're coming to people is, hey, can I help you? Is there anything I can help you with? And that's what I would say is get a mentor. One gold nugget that I was thinking about, what would I like to share on the podcast is I heard this in Jay Scott's book the other day on negotiating real estate, and he said, if you want to be a good negotiator, focus on solving problems. And so I really try to understand your seller's motivation, because when you understand their motivation and what their problem is, then you can try to solve it. And if you can solve their problem, then you can sell their property.
Yep.
It's that simple.
Love it. And you're just outside of Louisville?
Yep.
What town are you in?
Area. Shelbyville.
Shelbyville. And how can people get in touch with you if they want to reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, they could get me on email. It's Pete@NewHopeHomebuyers.LLC.com. You can call me on my phone, 502-645-6276.
You're bananas. You are just absolutely, you're a wild man. I'm telling okay, get ready. All I'm saying, reach out to him, guys. I mean, talk to people. That's what it's about. He just gave you the opportunity. Reach out to him, talk to him, especially if you're in the area, especially if you want to network, especially if you've got deals. Talk to him and reach out, Pete. I want to say thank you so much for joining us on here. It was a real pleasure. You're an incredible guy. You're going to have an incredible business, and I'm excited to see it just explode and flourish and just provide you and your family with all the opportunities that a lot of income provides. So, and for everybody else out there listening, if you are interested in joining the most proactive group in real estate investing, it is the TTP program. Check us out at wholesalinginc.com/TTP. Go check it out. Check out what the program's all about. Go scroll down. You're going to have to scroll down for a while because there's a lot of testimonials. Check it out. Nobody has more testimonials. So check it out. I'd love to work with you personally. Pete, you're the best. I really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing so much. And guys, until next time, I encourage you to talk to people. See ya.
Thanks, Brent.